This is one of my favorite Sundays of the year. I love the Wesley Covenant. I think it's an amazing communication, an amazing words between God and man, and we're going to say them in a little bit. And I love the fact that it's on the first Sunday of a new year. So welcome to our first church service of 2025. As the new year rang in, did you make any plans to improve or change your life? Some people are very good at New Year's resolutions. Others, like me, not so much. I know many of us have experienced the short-lived commitment as it pertains to New Year's resolutions. And we avoid making them because we see it as kind of a setup for self-disappointment. You know, the treadmill became a drying rack, and the lure of chocolate or sugar in general or coffee or anything was simply too strong to ignore after a couple of weeks. But our scripture today from Hebrews asks us to consider changing our lives on a deeper level, to do more than simply set a self-improvement goal for a year. It asks us to dig deep, to make whatever changes are necessary so that we can courageously face our lives, to run the race that is set before us. It implies that to win the race, we've got to keep moving forward. We have to hang in there. And sometimes that means just putting one foot a little bit in front of the other. But the bottom line is, we don't quit. Hebrews asks us to fix our eyes upon Jesus. Jesus knew that there would be people who were opposed to him. Jesus faced criticism, persecution, betrayal, and death. But he ran the race that was set before him with unwavering grace and love for all, even those who persecuted him. So what does that look like in the modern era? I found this story written by Aaron Scottberg in the Muse in 2024. We're going to play the game that we've played before. Who am I? When I was 14 years old, my father lost his job, and my family hit rough times. So we moved into a VW van on a relative's lawn. And as a young and aspiring comedian, I was so dedicated to my craft that I mailed a resume to the Carol Burnett Show when I was 10. But I took an 8-hour-per-day factory job after school to help make ends meet for my family. At age 15, I performed a comedy routine on stage for the first time. I was wearing a suit that my mom made for me, and I totally bombed. But I was not undeterred. That next year, at 16, I quit school to focus on comedy full time. I moved to LA shortly after, where I would drive my car and park on Mulholland Drive every night to visualize my success. On one of these nights, I wrote myself a check for $10 million. And I put in the memo line, for acting services rendered. I dated that check Thanksgiving, 1995. And just before Thanksgiving, 1995, I hit a payday because I was in a famous movie. So I put that, as time passed, I put that deteriorated check, which I'd kept in my wallet the whole time, in my father's casket. Who am I? Any ideas out there? Yeah, Bon? Jim Carrey. Nice. Jim Carrey ran the race. He didn't give up. In 2017, Jim Carrey addressed a group of inmates in Los Angeles, and these are his words. In life, we make one of two decisions. We either decide to go through the gate of resentment, which leads to self-harm, which leads to harming others, or we go through the gate of forgiveness, which leads to grace. Just as Jesus did on the cross. He suffered terribly, and his decision was to look upon the people who were causing that suffering with compassion and forgiveness. Who knew those words would come from Dumb and Dumber? But with Jesus as our example, it would seem that by nature, all Christians would be undeterred in moving forward. But sometimes we struggle and forget to fix our eyes upon Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith. So as we enter the year 2025, I invite all of us to live our lives courageously. Let us individually and as a congregation run the race that is set before us. Welcome to worship. We are so glad you're here.